And hello, everybody. This is Todd Nielsen, one of the organizers for Catalyzing the Future, and we are back for another conversation with this time Professor Tony Bendell. Tony's a strategic thought leader, respected academic, international expert speaker, consultant, and trainer, who's the former Rolls-Royce PLC funded Professor of Quality and Reliability Management at the University of Leicester, UK. He is a licensed EFQM trainer and advisor, the chair of the SKEA Excellence Award Jury, and well-known invited keynote speaker at conference events worldwide. And on top of that, Tony is going to be one of the micro workshop leaders. Boy, that's a mouthful. One of the micro workshop leaders at the upcoming December 9th day of training for Catalyzing the Future. Tony Bendell, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Todd. And
wonderful
micro workshops. Yes.
Yeah, wonderful to see you. And so the micro workshops are, 90-minute sort of intensive, practical-minded, hands-on training. Yours is titled "Rethinking Organizational Risk Management After the Pandemic." And for somebody who's maybe thinking about attending the workshop, could you maybe give a bit of a voiceover what it's going to be about?
Sure. So risk management, we all do risk management. All our organizations do risk management. But how many of us were ready for what happened? And it's not a surprise. It's not the first time that risk management has failed, but this time it failed pretty badly. The cover of Time magazine back in 2017 talked about the fact that we weren't ready for the next pandemic. And we kind of proved it this time, didn't we? And we saw what was happening in China in the beginning of the year, and yet all that time we had to get prepared, it wasn't until we got into the summer that any of our organizations started to mobilize in any serious way. And so there are problems with risk management itself, the fundamental approach, but also there's problems very much in organizational implementations. The way we treat systemic risks as if they're just like any other risk. So the idea of the workshop is to focus on how we can do risk management better based on what we've learned from this crisis and what we should have learned from the previous ones. 4 mini techniques we'll have a look at during there. We'll do a hindsight review with the delegates on the program, looking at some of the aspects we should have known better about in the first place. We'll look at how we should be dealing with systemic risks using a structural template. And we'll look at state of readiness. Now, interesting there, the fact that a systemic risk like a global pandemic isn't a point event. It doesn't just happen and it's there. We see it coming and we should be reacting. We should be linking up our business continuity management with our risk management. Our risk management should be proactive. We should be increasing our state of alert as the risk emerges. Of course, none of which is normal standard practice. So we're lucky at the moment if we review our risk register perhaps once a quarter, even in financial institutions. So there's a need to change a lot of the structure of the way we approach risk management if we're going to be able to cope well in the future with systemic risks. So the last part of the micro workshop is to do some risk management planning in a somewhat different way to the way we've done it in the past.
That's very intriguing, and it'll be interesting to hear what some of those techniques are that you're going to recommend going forward. So somebody coming out of the workshop, what kinds of things, how will their perspective be shifted by the time they get to the other side of it? I guess maybe that's the question to ask.
Well, I hope their awareness will be increased. The awareness of both the fact that we obviously are facing disruptive events of a completely different nature to what we're planning for at the moment, so that the awareness, if you like, and the scanning of the horizon will be better, but also the realization that the embedded risk management processes we have in most organizations are not well suited to the current need. And that's a really important realization because it's not particularly difficult to reinvent risk management. It's just that we have a lot of inertia around it. I think it's fair to say that what we saw with the pandemic wasn't really a black swan. It wasn't something that was unexpected. Maybe it's a white swan, or maybe it's a grey rhinoceros. It doesn't matter what it was foreseeable. And as it happened, it became more and more clear that it was happening, and we were ignoring it. Now, risk management should be capable of mobilizing us in very real time, and so that we can deal with such issues, rather than leaving us until the fat hits the pan and we're in serious trouble. So I think the major thing you get out of it is increased awareness, some very simple techniques to get started on reinventing your risk management system. And if you like, maybe a bit of leverage for others in your organization to try and get them to be more aware for the future.
That sounds excellent. And your reference to the Grey Rhinoceros, that wasn't a flippant reference. That's a reference to Michelle Wucker's idea of disasters that we should have seen coming, or that really are kind of obvious and out there, but for whatever reason we don't see them. Correct?
Well, as I said at the beginning, Time magazine in 2017, front cover, think about May, was talking about the fact that we're not ready for the next pandemic. We all knew that. The World Health Organization was telling us that. This wasn't a surprise. Maybe the exact nature of the pandemic was a surprise. So treating things as if they're unfortunate, but they're perturbations on stability, is not a particularly good way forward. We need to be more aware, and we need to be more prepared. We need more precautionary principles in the way we operate, perhaps. There's some very, very simple things that we can do to mobilize and to be ready, but we're not doing. And hence the Grey Rhinoceros. You know, it was coming, it was going to do a lot of damage, but we chose not to pay any attention to it.
Well, hopefully by attending your workshop, we'll be arming people with some better ways of doing that. Tony, thank you so much for joining me today on the program. Professor Tony Bendell, the name of the workshop, again, is Rethinking Organizational Risk Management After the Pandemic. If you want to sign up for this event, space is limited. We can point you to the notes down below, where we'll have a link to the Eventbrite sign up. And you can also find out information on catalyzingthefuture.com. So hope that you can join us on December the 9th, not only for Tony's workshop, but also for others, as well as I think we're going to have a couple of surprise panels sort of in between the workshops to help people share their learnings from the event. So again, our approach is to try to be multi-threaded and offer some practical impact for the things that we're doing here. So Tony, thanks again, and we will see you December the 9th.
Thanks, Ted. So thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.